This past Sunday, I stood at the start line of the Manchester Marathon. But the truth is, just 2 weeks ago, I wasn't even sure I'd be there. I was dealing with a sudden injury that threatened to stop the whole journey before it even started. So in this episode, I'm taking you along with me, the highs and the lows and the moments I wasn't sure I'd finish. You'll hear clips from the course and see what it really looks like to push through when things don't go to plan. I'm sharing the lessons I learned, the things I do differently next time. And yes, there is going to be a next time, and exactly how I'm recovering my body now that the medal is home. And so whether you're a runner or just someone dealing with a setback, this is a story about finding wellness, even when the road gets a little bit bumpy. So let's dive into the Manchester Marathon, wellness at both ends of the lead and everywhere in between. So last year, I stood at mile 24 and I cheered on runners with my two dogs, Maz and Bambi. I even helped a collapsed runner as well for several hours who was extremely poorly. And I had this crazy idea, wouldn't it be great to do the marathon? My brother thought it was a good idea. I thought he was going to do it with me, but no, it was just me. Now, the marathon actually became something far bigger than just that, because if you are a regular listener, you know that last year I lost 3 dogs, and the marathon and training for it was basically what got me out of the house, got me feeling better. I had my dogs to walk that were left, but running became a real thing that I needed to do in order to function. I felt better when I was running. And so it was really all wrapped up a lot in my grief, and my desire to do the marathon as well was to honour Maz, Evie and Rowan. I was also fundraising for the charity Paws as well, which is a charity that I'm a trustee for, based out in Iraq. And actually the lady that runs Paws, Louise, was the one who rescued Maz from Afghanistan all those years ago. Maz was a 2-legged dog who was on the streets for 2 years with severely damaged legs. So it had so much meaning to me. And 2 weeks before, I trip up on a dog walk. So it wasn't even a running injury. I'd done so much training. I felt quite prepared. I felt like I was overhydrating on longer runs because I kept having to pee. But I think that might have been a little tweak I need to do with the electrolytes, and I'll cover that in a bit. So if you've seen some of my videos, my latest couple of podcasts, you will see I've been talking about acute injuries and how I manage them, red light therapy, lots of oils. So I actually approached the marathon with this problem with my hamstring because I'd torn it, and I wasn't sure what to do. So the night before, I actually taped it up, and that definitely helped with the hamstring pain. But then when I woke up in the morning, I realized I had pain in my glutes. So I taped that as well. But I set off fairly confident that actually I'd be able to run through it and it wouldn't be too bad. And then I'm going to share a bit more about what happened. So obviously I live in Manchester. So actually it was only about a 30-minute walk from my house to the start line, which was super convenient. And my big problem was I going to be warm enough? So I wasn't going to check a bag. I just had a water pack with my electrolytes in it, and then I had just this little red sort of like pack-a-mac that I could just shove in my bag. So that was my plan, and actually that side of things worked really, really well.
To the start, so the first lots of waves are off. It's just so lovely and sunny as well. So I hope it's going to be great. We're so near to my target. So if you can, please donate to help Paws. I'd be so grateful. I'm going to post the link again. I'll do another post at the start, and then my friend Sabrina is going to take over my feed to keep you updates. But please donate to Paws. Louise is doing such wonderful work out there in the shelter in Iraq, and if we don't support them, those animals have no one to help them at all. Thank you so much to everyone who's donated so far. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I also feel a little bit sick, to be honest, as well. But it's amazing.
Start was at Old Trafford. Obviously there was loads of people there. It was amazing. As soon as I got in, I thought, I'm going to have a wee. So I had a wee in the Portaloos, and then was just waiting around for the start to be called. And then it was the you go through the start and you walk down to the main start, so you get access to the start, and then there's more toilets there. So I had another wee because, you know, that's what you do, isn't it? Walk down to the start, and I managed to get right to the front of the start, and Dame Sarah Story, who was starting us off, was there. So I ended up getting a photo with her in the background, you know, smiling. And she also shouted out war Paws, which was absolutely amazing. And then we were off, and I was quite happy. I had a good start. I actually hit the corner near where I live earlier than I thought. My lovely neighbour was out with my dog Bambi. She'd brought him out to see me. My other neighbours missed me because I was earlier than I thought. But I felt very strong running. I was running faster than my pace, so I deliberately slowed down my pace because I didn't want to over pace myself, and that's really important. And one of my colleagues, actually, sadly, he ran too fast and he ended up collapsing at mile 22 and didn't finish. So it's really important to maintain your pace, and that was something that I knew that I needed to do. And I was doing really well until I got to mile 11. And then I started to get pain, and it was pain more in my quads rather than my hamstrings. And I think what it was compensatory pain for my hamstring. So although my hamstring was taped up, other things were needing to do the work. And so the pain was hitting. So I had some topical essential oil balm that I was putting on. I also had some oils, some copaiba oil in a little bottle as well that I was taking some drops of in my mouth. I'd actually had 2 codeine tablets as well. So I'd taken one at about an hour and one at 2 hours, but they didn't help at all. So it was the oils that I was using that actually made a difference on my thighs. But by mile 17, I was just in too much pain. My knees had gone, my quads were just so stiff, and I just couldn't run really. I was having to walk, as you'll hear from here. So I was quite broken by this point, and then I just couldn't run. I didn't have the dead leg problem that I'd experienced. I was very worried about my electrolytes because they didn't have quite enough sodium for sort of challenges over 90 minutes. So I was actually using Himalayan salt. I'd had some in with the electrolyte, and also had some Himalayan salt in a little bit of tin foil, which probably looked a bit dodgy actually because I kept licking it. But that definitely helped. So I didn't have that dodgy leg, but I think I had to go to the loo twice on the run. So I think my hydration was still a little bit off. So next time I'm definitely going to try some different electrolytes for my longer runs to see if that helps. But the pain was just excruciating. I ran a marathon in 1997, so it's 29 years ago. And when I was in pain then, I would literally run to a mile marker and then walk for a bit to let my legs settle, and then I'd run again. And so I adopted that, but it didn't make any difference. The pain running.
I've just passed mile 17. I'm just walking for a bit. I'm in a lot of pain. I was okay to about mile 11, and then my hamstring's actually okay. But I think I've got it taped, and I've got referred to pain to both my quads now and my knees, but I'm not giving up. I keep thinking of Maz and Rowan and Evie and the War Paws. So please, if you haven't already donated, please donate to War Paws. We start hyperventilating. We got a shout out from Save Sarah's story at the start, which was so amazing. Please keep donating. It would be great to smash my target because it's a difficult situation out there. Louise is working so hard with all the staff at our shelter and clinic, and we've got to move that shelter as well. Thank you so much.
Any difference? The pain running was just absolutely horrendous. I ran through Chorlton. Some colleagues of mine were there and they shouted out to me, and it was lovely, but I was just really in pain. So really by about mile 20, I had rung, we had a little group chat. I'd left a little voice message to say that I was probably about 30 or 40 minutes away from mile 24, so where my neighbours were, but I was in a lot of pain. I didn't know how long it was going to take me. I didn't know if I'd be able to run. And a lot of those miles I was walking. And then getting up to mile 24, my neighbour was there, and I remember her hugging me, and I just went up to her and I said, I'm in so much pain. And my little Bambi was there, and I gave him a hug. And then I just sort of started to really try and run on, and Bambi just started shrieking. I could hear him at the back shrieking and shrieking as I ran on, but it kind of made me feel, it was like he was cheering me on even though he wanted me to come back. And then my neighbour's children were running with me, and they were handing me a bottle of water because I said, do you need some water? I said, oh, I'm all right, because I just don't want to hold anything. And they were like, we can hold it, don't worry, you just take a drink. So I took a drink because my water pack had run out by then, and then I handed the bottle back, and they were running. And I mean, one of the little gal is only 5, and she was running, you know, keeping up, and then their mum was on a bike cycling, and so they got me through the 24 to 25 and a bit beyond. And then when the barrier changed as you went round to the finish, they were cut off from me. And I went into the finish, and I passed the guy who was, I don't know if you've seen him on the social media, he's like the chemo king. So I passed him, which was, he was, because I've now learned all about him, and he's incredible, and got towards the finish.
Count them in. 1, 2, 3, make some noise!
I'm in so much pain, but I did it. I did it for about 50 rounds. I wore Paws, I've done it.
And you can see from my finish videos, I'm just broken. And then you get through to the finish and you get your medal and everything, but there's so much walking still to do because you've got to get out. And I hadn't got a bag, and I had to go all around the houses to get out of the finish funnel, which was taking me in a different direction to where I lived. And then I saw my neighbour had rung, the one who had Bambi, and she said, should I come and pick you up? And I'll get as close as I can. And so I only live less than a mile from the finish, and she managed to drive up to just a short distance, maybe only 500 meters away from where I live. But I couldn't even think, and actually I was so like confused, with not to the point that I was ill, but I think I was just so exhausted from the pain that she was trying to tell me where she was meeting me, and I was like, oh, why don't you meet me there? And she's like, that's what I mean. Anyway, she came and picked me up. It was beautiful.
I'm just walking back. I'm so grateful to everyone who donated for Paws. Thank you so much. We got over £1,000, which was the goal, so I'm so pleased. I didn't get anywhere near the time I wanted, but I tore my hamstring 2 weeks ago, and I knew I'd be in pain, but I've got a lot of pain. I was running all right until about 11 miles, and then my knees went at about 17 miles, so I've had to walk and do little bits of running. I did run at the finish, but it's hard. My lovely neighbours coming to pick me up. It's not even a mile away, but I'm just really struggling, and she had Bambi out. I'll get some pictures, but thank you so much for supporting Paws and me.
And I got home. So the first thing I did after I said hello to my dogs and everything was I had a cup of tea and some bread and Marmite, and then I had an Epsom salt bath with different oils in, such as wintergreen, and one with cypress in, and marjoram and basil, to provide pain relief and also help with the circulation. So that bath really helped. And then what I did was I did relax. But I used my red light therapy because my knees at this point were the ones that would really struggle. So I used my new red light therapy pad, which I've done a video about, on there for 45 minutes, which massively helped. I went and had a very early night. I think I went to bed at 9 o'clock, woke up at 2 a.m. hungry because I hadn't eaten anything else. I just couldn't even face food. Had some cheese on toast, went back to sleep. And again, you know, after the red light therapy as well, I'd put some more oils on my legs because the red light helps the oils absorb. And one of the things I think that's really important, because, you know, as a doctor, I know if a patient came in, it would be like, you've just got to put ice on, elevate, and painkillers. So I use the red light therapy instead of ice. But with the oils, they will help with the healing. And actually, it was so effective that today I've still got some pain, but so much better, because Monday I went to the secure dog field and I drove because I thought, well, I need to take the dogs out because they hadn't had a walk on the Sunday, because I thought I'd be able to take them out of the marathon, which I know sounds a bit crazy, but I've been out for long runs before, like 32 kilometers. This is 42, but I've taken the dogs out for a walk after. But I was literally having to hold onto the seat in my van and pull me up. That's literally how bad the pain was. I couldn't even get up into the van. And trying to lift the dogs in, it was a nightmare. So I'm so much better. And again, I'm having the red light therapy every day for 45 minutes. Last night I had it on my quads because they were the ones that were hurting the most, with the oils afterwards. And it's made a massive difference. I'm also supporting myself internally with some polyphenol capsules, digestive enzymes, probiotics, my antioxidant rich smoothies, VMG plus, so much. And that's getting me all back up and running. So if you want to learn more about it, I'm going to link to my Stronger in Midlife blog post, because that's got a lot about what I'm doing in here as well. But obviously do reach out if you want to know anything more about recovery. It's really worth doing a marathon. It was just such an amazing experience. I raised over £1,200 for my charity. It was just such a lovely way to honour my dogs. And I think it's been really cathartic for my grief as well. It's massively helped there. Will I do the marathon again? I've entered. I'm doing it. Me and the Manchester Marathon have got unfinished business. I ran the London Marathon in 4 hours 15 when I had very bad pain when I was a lot younger. So 29 years ago. I got through it. Now, this was crippling pain. This was far worse than the pain I had all those years ago, because my knees had gone at this time. But I want to run it quicker. So I'm in a competition with myself. I'm going to run it quicker. So hopefully I'll be all right as long as I don't trip up and tear anything else. But yeah, Manchester Marathon 2027 come. But honestly, Manchester were amazing. It was such a privilege to run through my home city and also my neighbourhood. And people were out cheering, completely random people cheering you on, seeing that I wasn't smiling and shouting me out. There were so many of these pop choirs as well. And one of them particularly, and I don't know what they're called, and I've got to try and work out who they were. I think it was one in Chorlton. It was amazing. But I was thinking of my mum-in-law, and as soon as I was thinking of her, I ran past them and they was playing Mamma Mia by ABBA. And my mum was a big ABBA fan. I grew up with ABBA, and I was just like shouting at them, going, oh my God, this is amazing, and just waving. And, you know, kids out there and everyone, it was such an amazing atmosphere, and the crowd really, really does get you through it. It was absolutely fantastic experience. So if you're on the fence about running a marathon, do it, but make sure you do the training, because people do collapse on it. People get ill on it. Even, you know, my lovely colleague who's so fit, he just misjudged it, and he just went off at such a pace, and he just couldn't maintain it. And there's other people that have collapsed at mile 25. You know, they're just like 1 mile away. So it's worth it, but do the training. And if you want to do it and you're doing it, come and run in aid of War Paws. So if you want to know more about that, get in touch with me as well. But yeah, if you want to know about that and you want to know about donating for War Paws, then do just message me and I'll send you the information about how to do that as well. So thank you for listening. If you've got any questions, as always, let me know. Don't forget to hit the follow button and tell me what you want me to cover, and in my next one, so that I can carry on creating more content for you. Stay safe, stay well. Bye.